We have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Super excited to be able to provide you all with some balance, one household at a time. Today we have with us Mary Kay Boddie. How are you, Mary Kay?
All is well. Thank you, lovely. And you?
I'm doing great, doing great. So glad to have you here today. We know some behind the scenes stuff, right?
Ooh, always. Help us grow.
That's our way, and we are here and excited to be able to share some information with you all today. So as you all come into the virtual studio audience, go ahead and let us know where you're visiting in from, and feel free to ask any questions that may come into your heart throughout this episode. The only way Mary Kay can even answer some of your questions is if you go ahead and ask them. So make sure you type them. I'll also give you the link in case anybody wants to come on screen and ask a question directly. Feel free to do that also. All right. So Mary Kay, I feel like I've known you forever, but I really have only, how long have we known each other? Not long at all, huh?
October of last year.
That is crazy. But you know how you connect with people and you feel like you have these lifelong connections? And,
yes.
And it's just starting for us, you know?
Yes. It's been an impactful, though. It's been a full of about, 6 months. It's been a lot. Actually, I take it back, September, because we connected and I was able to be a blessing and be blessed by Gabe's Heart Walk. So that officially, the luncheon before that at the E-Women's with Maria and Pink Victory was actually where we linked and connected just from that night before.
That's where it was. Okay, so yeah, for E-Women Network, we have a mutual friend, and I should tag her. Actually, see if I can tag her right quick, because she's the reason that we actually connected. So we are both a part of a group that is a business entrepreneur group that works with women to be able to help 1 million women earn $1 million in annual income. And so Mary Kay and I had the opportunity to connect there for the first time, and then found out, who knew, literally, that she did CPR, AED, defibrillator, all kinds of training that she did. And here I'm meeting her at a business entrepreneur group. So you never know who you're going to encounter when you're just networking with other like-minded individuals, you know?
And Kim, if I could just say, I just, number one, love you, right, for who you are and who you choose to be and to share. Relatable, right? That's the whole point of being able to, you can have a lot of things where people can't relate to it, or you can show the relations with it. And you are all about relationship. And I so value you and appreciate you for that, and being open to who you are in every arena and sharing that and showing up each time.
Oh, thank you. Well, same here. Just to see the diversity and all of the hats that you wear, and the fact that you get to come from your heart. You're really, really heart-centered is something that I really appreciate and admire about you. But then you can step out like in a whole different look. I'm like, it's coming in. I just saw and then I see you stepping out. I'm like, you ain't playing. You don't be playing.
Well, girl, I'm tagging with you. What am I supposed to do? I didn't wear what Kim would wear. Then black. Oh, snap.
Look at you right there. Now you go from some regular training to stepping out like that.
Well, again, that Maria Marvel Stubbs with Pink Victory can get you into some things. So tagging with her, it was another ministry's first annual fashion show. So that was part of gala attire for that. And I just took it to church and put the church lady hat on with it. And you see I'm displaying the ribbon, right, for Pink Victory for a breast cancer survivor. That was an accessory provided to me by our friend. And what you can see is that I do have, because I'm really petite and short, but I like heels. So there were 6-inch boots on underneath there to give me that model, that model look. Well, you know, did you get the picture that I provided for us from the Congolese gala that we were invited to?
Let me get that one as well.
I show what good company I am in. The fashion girl, the gala girl, for sure.
But you still came in looking like something like Josephine Baker's. I was like, girl, come on, look at that's I know that's City Councilwoman Tawana Brown right there.
Yes.
And who is the other young lady? I don't know her as much.
I think her name is Ingram. She was running for a seat as well. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I was just happy to be amongst you all, you beautiful ladies, and take that glam shot.
And again, if you hadn't been relational, I wouldn't have been at that event either. So coming into this arena and even being here today, like I'm so grateful, because you keep us in the loop. You keep us connected. You're not too above sharing your greatness, and to give a platform to small minority businesses like me who are growing, right? And there's people with a heart and a mission. It's just great to connect with you, because you're great.
Wow, that's interesting, because you really don't know the impact that you have on people. So everyone, no matter what your gifts and your talents are, don't keep it to yourself, but be, like she said, relational, be willing to share and to connect with other like-minded people, so that you never know who's going to benefit from your gift. And I know I've tremendously benefited from Mary Kay's gift. So let me take a moment and introduce her to you. She is a cardiac arrest survivor, and we're going to talk about that. She's a business owner, a certified CPR instructor, certified health coach, a CPTG oil advocate, foreign missionary, new graduate from my own How to Start Your Own Show from Scratch. And she graduated from that program. And she's also a grandmother. And so I'm really excited. She's a degreed RN, a health coach. She's you name it. There's so many different hats that she wears. And throughout today's episode, we're going to get a chance to hear some of your backstory, Mary Kay. So I'm really looking forward to that. So what we're going to do is, and Mackenzie, I'm going to go in a different direction backstage. I know I didn't tell you this, so you're probably like, how can you help me, right? So let me just go ahead and play this one thing right quick. We'll be right back, everyone, after you hear more about the networking group that we were a part of together that you'll learn more about right now.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now, it's no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
All right, everyone, we are back. And again, if you all are interested in learning more about eWomen Network, I would love for you to go and register. We have a summit that's coming up on April 30th. And this is an opportunity for our, this is my older one here, but we have our founder will be in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Charlotte Museum of History. And this is the link that you can learn more about our upcoming summit. She's going to be talking to us about unlocking some success secrets. She's a former CNN hero as well. And we'd love for you to come and be a part of that event. And so I'll put another event that's coming up as well, talking about living to be born uncommon. And I'll put both of those in there for you to learn more about. Okay, so Mary Kay, take us back on your backstory and tell us a little bit about who you are. What brought you to this level of passion that you have today?
Let's see. Growing up with asthma early on, and as people say, kind of outgrew it. Well, in high school, I was in ROTC. I was set to be going into the Air Force, actually. And I was the first female commander at my school. I was battalion commander. I was head of everything in my Area 5 from the area that I'm in. I was aspiring A student and had a cardiac arrest related to anaphylaxis coming back from a trip and choking that it turned my life into a whole nother direction. Ended up in the emergency room, and the nurse stepped out to get something. And literally to this day, I still remember sitting up, gasping, choking, can't breathe, and saying, "Oh Lord, I'm gone." So we have a joke in the field now. We say, don't let them say it, because then they do it. So I said it, and literally I don't remember hitting the bottom of the stretcher in the ER. So the nurse called the code. She got on my sternum. You know, people talk about breaking ribs, right? If you break ribs, you are totally doing CPR in the wrong place, right? Your ribs are down here, your sternum and cartilage up here to separate to get into the heart to gain access is really where you are. And it's appropriate. Anyone over 17 years of age, you are going to encounter that, because nobody is meant to sustain that in just their frame. So fast forward, almost 3 minutes later, even in an emergency department, I was without air. I was dead. So you have to have 3 criteria for CPR. You need no heartbeat, no responsiveness, and no breath. I had all. I went into respiratory arrest. Secondarily, my heart followed. And almost 3 minutes later, without any consciousness, breath, or heartbeat. She immediately herself got on my chest, didn't wait for the crash cart, and had the oxygen source in the room. And that actually is what saved me. Fast forward some few years later, so I didn't go to the military. It's no sadness there. It's not like, oh, Mary Kay's heartbreaking story. I did a year later just continue to volunteer, and at my school, I had an opportunity to join the Navy. Nothing wrong with the Navy. I loved them, but they wanted me to be a yeoman and type. I still don't type with 5 words corrected right now. So life went on, life moving on. But I got an opportunity to have an awesome daughter from Zimbabwe. connected to ministry through church. Faith came to us, and next thing I know, I'm in missions in Zimbabwe, going home to help with her. And in a makeshift feeding center that we had outside of a village, a young girl went down. She was, get this, Kim, 12. You know, that was Gabe's age. At 12, and I'm getting on the truck going to leave, and they come in a frenzy, franticness to get me, and I end up on that little girl's chest in Africa, in Harare, outside of the feeding center in the dust. And taking that ride home after that, it was completely sobering. And I literally was like, Lord, what do I do? I've been the lone responder in many situations. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I still was a first responder in Gastonia to something. When I left Gabe's heart thing, there was an accident there. My daughter calls it the Chronicles of Mary. She's like, Mom, you're there and stuff happens, or you're, you know, I'm like, no, it happens, and bless God that this is, I'm trained to be there. But at that point, I said, Lord, what do I do? And literally, if there's ever a word that I have heard audibly, it was one, and it was teach.
So that was the word that came to your mind, that God, you believe God put it in your spirit to help obviously to help the young lady that was in Zimbabwe, and she survived, correct?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Grown, well, moved on with life. I can't even find her now. She's so good.
But God used you, yes, to administer the gifts, yes, and the talents that He gave you. Yes. And so audibly you heard, I want you to teach. So what did that mean for you? What did you start teaching?
Teach meant, that was October of 2007. When I got home, I learned what I needed to do to get my credentialing to become a CPR instructor. So that was my answer to teach. I am, I believe, a teacher by gifting, and I'm an educator by choice. So no matter what it is, I love, but coming from that experience of having a cardiac arrest, mm-hmm, and then also being on her chest, it was to start instructing how to teach these life-saving skills and preventative skills. Then from that in 17, it kind of clicked again, take it to another level. So I'm open Revive CPR. And so been teaching now. This month, how about it? This month, about 2 days ago, is my anniversary. Oh, Kim, it was March 8th of 2008. Oh my God!
Congratulations!
Anniversary! Oh my gosh!
You know what? It's more than just
a moment. That was a moment. Oh my gosh! So teach, and I've been teaching
to you. And in my opinion, it's more than just an anniversary, because lives have been saved as a result of you being consistent and using that gift and that talent that God blessed you with. It's not everybody even has that nudge to stop when you see somebody along the highway. Everybody don't feel that way. They're like, okay, that's not my issue. I know I personally always pray for the situation and pray for the individuals involved. But to stop, that's something that you go the extra mile to do. Talk to us about that when you see these incidents, mm-hmm, that push you in the direction of helping.
So let's go back to teaching. One of the first segments that I teach. So let me pause here, segue. I am certified to the professional rescuer level. I teach American Red Cross, American Heart, Heart Saver, Medic, ASHE, and there's always one that I don't remember. So ASHE, and yeah, that's it. The only one I don't teach is Health and Safety Council right now. So having that education dispels fear. Mm-hmm. Education helps you with preparedness. So one of the segments that I teach is, what is the reason that people choose not to help? Often it's fear. Fear based from what? Fear they're going to make it worse. You all, they are dead. It begins with D and it ends with D. No heartbeat, no breathing, and no responsiveness. They're gone. And if they're over 4 minutes, they're clinically dead. So nobody has, you know, a lot of us have superpowers, but none of us have the superpower to make somebody deader. They're going to stay there. I have some unusual, sarcastic kind of satire comedy as well, right?
Oh yeah, you're a comedian too, in addition to all the hats you wear, right?
Yeah, I should have added. I used to be a Christian comedian, but I put her away. I've kind of discovered I didn't need her anymore, and she helped me through a rough patch of my life. But another reason why people don't stop and help is because they're thinking about being sued. Here in America, you know, we're sue happy. They're thinking about liability. But if you do what's reasonable, and if you are certified, do according to your scope of training, and you don't ask for compensation, you know, I helped you out, my rent is due, or gas is high, or you have season tickets or something like that. I'm making it ridiculous, but you're covered by something called, guess what, the Good Samaritan law. And that's a biblically based thing where the guy binds up the guy's wound and helps him. Another thing they're afraid of is disease, right? So another thing that we dispel when we're teaching how to guard yourself. Probably another reason is they think someone else is going to do it, or someone else is more qualified when a person needs intervention and they need help immediately. So some of those things, because I've been in that, certainly I would say some of that is by nature for me, but I don't like to put that at the forefront because it has been more my education and my experience and seeing the outcome. And honestly, just choosing to be human, just choosing to be human and good to another person in distress, and not letting my maybe backgrounds, and as much as I like to think that I'm open, biases or some preconceived ideas about people. I stopped to help a guy on the west side that everybody was going around, and he was unresponsible. When I turned him over, immense smell of alcohol. He was blue and black, and I needed to open his airway to keep him alive while EMS arrived. I can't judge him. I don't know what brought him to that point of life. I don't know if by not the grace of God, if not for him, there go I. So I'm looking at one human being to one human being who's in need. And if you don't know what to do, at least stay at a safe distance and call 911 and get advanced help coming.
That's good. That's really good feedback.
Just choosing to be. One lady calls 911, heard the tape, the older lady. She's up there and it says, 911, what's your emergency? Do you need EMS, fire, police? She says, I don't know. The tape says, you don't know? No, I don't know. He just don't look good. Something right. He don't look good. The guy was he had like 90% blockage in his heart. He was going unresponsive. And just this older lady's call, she's in her 70s, saying, I don't know what was wrong, but he just doesn't look good. And within minutes is on and help save that man's life. So I say, if you can't fix it in 5 minutes, this is a lot of Mariologies. If you can't fix it in 5 minutes, you should be calling for help, and EMS should be on the way. Make sure the scene is safe. Make sure it's safe for you and the person. If it's not, step away. That way you get to be the eyes and ears. So if things decline or there's another situation that goes on, and people think EMS and fire, people are going to know they're going to have some magic powers when they get there to know what's going on. They need somebody to help clue them in. And when they do, that saves a whole lot of time and precious seconds. If you were to hold your breath, now you're in respiratory arrest. Your heart soon will follow. Just think about every heartbeat. If that is gone, Every time there's a compression miss, there's a second. Seconds, not just minutes count. So just being human. Show up, do what you can do. Get educated, get trained, and you'll be better.
Say it one more time at the end.
I said, just get trained, the fear will go away, and everyone will be better.
And everyone will be better. Someone in the studio audience wanted to know, are you a missionary? Dennis asked that question.
I have been, yes. I've done missions in Zimbabwe, Harare, Mozambique, and Jamaica in St. Anne's Parish. Not so much anymore. I think my missionary field now, I call it backyard missions, is here and now tagging to get this CPR missions message out.
That's good. And so you, based on what I'm hearing you say, is whether you are CPR certified, AED, kind of defibrillator certified, all of those trainings still does not cancel out the fact that you can just be a good Samaritan and get yourself in a safe position to be able to at least give a call to 911 and say, hey, there's something wrong. Like the lady that was in her 70s said, I don't know what's wrong, but somebody needs to get here. And it didn't take any extra effort out of her life to do that, except for just to make a phone call, right? So I'm grateful that you said that. And I'd like to ask you all in the studio audience, would you stop to help someone that you see in distress on the side of the road? Is that something you would even entertain? Or is that like, not my problem, going on about my business? And I do know of instances too where people have stopped and then something went seriously wrong and that was not in favor of the person that stopped. So things like that happen as well. So you do have to be careful when you're stopping on the side of the road to assist anyone.
First thing we talk about is scene safety, right? How to guard yourself. If it's not safe for you, I said it's better to be a live witness than a dead participant. That's another Mariology. Some things I say in class, right? And in these experiences, they help them stick in our brains, right? Better to be a live witness than a dead participant. Scene safety. I mean, things happen. One trained person stopped to help someone on the interstate and ended up getting crushed and it's struck by a vehicle. And that's why they tell troopers, to go to the other side now. And he ended up being a double amputee from stopping to help someone. And it wasn't a cardiac issue, it was a roadside issue. But the man came out not bitter. He understood possibly how he could have safeguarded himself. And he just came to a sense of gratefulness. Now, sometimes I've had to train myself that as well, because I am of this nature and I have responded. Sometimes that overrides my brain and it can get me into serious as well. So based on the training though, and the things that I've been through, each one gives you a little more knowledge on what to do. I stopped on 85 twice. I actually stopped at 85 on the church in my African attire last February with those 5-inch heels on, with my tip shoes, because I was going to tip in and sit down and tip out. But there was a motor vehicle accident involving a truck and a car, a Cadillac. But when I blew past them, right, because I'm on 85, I looked, the people were out of it, but one gentleman caught my eye. He was leaning over the barrier. I stopped. You always want to pull ahead of the accident. Don't be behind it, because they can plow into you in the back. But I get there, and the gentleman, I'm running with my gear. The gentleman was on an oxygen source. He had had COVID and he had respiratory issues related to it. And his oxygen tank was running out. Oh. I checked his wife and his brother and the person in the other vehicle. But I asked him, I said, you're conscious now. But if you go down, EMS, I'm calling, they're on the way. But I will be here for you. and do I have your consent, right, to proceed? Now, when they are conscious, this is another segue to talk about. When they're conscious, they may have something going on, choking and stuff, but you need to get consent, right? If they say, no, don't touch me, and you go on and you say, no, you're crazy, I need to help you anyway, guess what? That's assault. Because even though they may be off, that's assault. You can't say, you're crazy, I'm going to help. Anyway, this is what you need, right? And they say no, again, no, at a safe distance, because they're going to go unresponsive. And guess what? Well, they could have some mental confusion going on. They could have any anomaly of things, any plethora of things going on. But the minute they become unresponsive and they drop and they have no responsiveness, guess what? It's implied consent, because anyone who is in their right mind, who is all things in line, would want help. And when you do things that are appropriate, then with implied consent, you go on. Now, even if, the lady said she saw somebody that had DNR tattooed across his chest, I said, I don't know what that means. They don't have initials. I don't know what the initials mean. I really don't know. I can't assume, but according to my training, and get this, even you can, if you're not trained, you have, or if you're a lay provider, let's talk about that, professionals versus lay providers. If you are of the general populace and you get certified, it still is your choice whether or not. I am a professional, I am credentialed, and it's my nature, so I'm bound to do it. If I want to continue to do what I love and it's negligence. Also, conversely, on the other hand, if someone is not competent, I cannot certify them, because if they do something, I carry a lot of errors and omissions insurance. Actually, now I carry medical malpractice insurance. Because as a professional, if I leave something out or somebody doesn't get it, something goes south with someone, then we just like to trace accountability. But with those things, even as being trained and a lay provider, you have the will and have the ability to choose what you're going to do. But again, to choose to be human, to get advanced help coming, those are the key. Early recognition, early activation, which means getting the AED, getting a first aid kit, and calling 911. You want advanced help coming. Let me say this quickly, and I'll let you move to your next question. In the adult chain of survival, there are 5 components. I'm trying to lean in with 5. Where am I? 5. There we go. But I say the first 3 are we, meaning early recognition, early activation, and early care. The 4th is advanced help coming, and then 5 is post traumatic care, right? Being in the hospital. But the first 3 are we. It's you and me and anyone else that can stand by to call, give aid, and be trained and certified.
So you're dropping significant knowledge, right? And so how do people stay connected with you to be able to go through your training? And is it like reasonably priced where any average person can become certified, or is it like, talk to us about that process?
Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I started Revive CPR, because I do contract with these entities, but because it is my own business, I am able to control the fees. Okay, I make it relevant and prevalent. Also, I chose to, because I didn't want to be chokehold into the type of CPR, because a lot of students end up in a CPR class that is inappropriate. So I choose the most appropriate one, and different ones have different fee bases because of the nature of the cards that I have to purchase from the entity and some other things that are going on. I've certified some churches for free. I've given nursing students, and I have educator discounts, because the challenge is the school will pay, or the school district will pay for a middle schooler or a high schooler to get it outside, but they won't pay for the teacher to get CPR certified.
Interesting.
So my
all schools, or is that just some schools?
No, all counties and schools in North Carolina require that students be at some point CPR trained, but they usually get it in middle school when they don't, really focus, or some private charter schools. So I always offer an educator discount because I'm an educator, and my daughters are in the field as well. They're educators in my family. So cost for me should not be a barrier. It's another way that I tithe. It's another way that I sow into my community, and to give my time. So I'm going to have some fun on April 13th with a local Girl Scout troop in Charlotte. Help them earn their badges at no cost. They won't be certified, but they'll have a community, friends, and family classes. And guess what, Kim? I've heard that I'm a servant leader, and every time we talk, because of my commitment to Gabe's Heart Foundation, with those who are fortunate to get defibrillators through the foundation, my commitment is to, within a 50 to 100-mile radius, make sure that they are certified for that. I just thought about if someone would like to contribute to the foundation in honor of that, just to have a friends and family. What we have course is non-certified. It is a condensed class for essential parts of CPR, especially the recognition part. And then for infants and children, the greatest part of their link is prevention. So when I start talking about prevention and some key things, then it gets the knowledge out, and it takes the fear, removes it away, and replaces it with knowledge. And then response time is appropriate, and survival rate increases significantly.
Wow. And for those of you that may not know what we're talking about with Gabe's Heart Foundation is in honor of my 12-year-old son that he transitioned from this earth, passed away at the age of 12. He's a gentle giant at 5'10". So he didn't have to put on any heels or anything. He was already 5'10" at 12 years old. 5'10" and wearing a grown man's shoe. Size 13 is what he was wearing. Played football. Love the game of football. I was trying to look over here and just see. Oh, he loved football so much that he slept with. This boy laying there with the football in the bed with his brothers, but they're all crammed in one bed, and he's sleeping with a football. That's how much he loved the sport, and had fans at a young age. He had fans that would literally that would come up and ask him for his autograph, because he was kind of like the Michael Orr guy on the field, and and would move 5 or 6 guys down the field at one time. But his coach would tell him, "Listen, Gabe, you can't stop the game. You can't stop the whole game to help somebody and pick them up." So and he didn't have pink for like how he in honor of breast cancer. He would do it. He never fit in. So he always was that guy that was like, I'm just going to do whatever God put in my heart to do. He was the anti-bullying mediator at his school. So people, little petite Caucasian girls, after he passed away, they came up and they were like, he was like my guardian angel. He helped these people that were bullying me to take care of the situation, and ask them, why would you do this to this person? Why would you do this to her? And help them become friends. So they called him at the school Guardian Gabe, is what he was known for at his school. And that was his number 95 that was retired. So we now, with Gabe's Heart Foundation, we raise funds to be able to get defibrillators put in public spaces. So that way, if any kind of incident happens, there is a defibrillator right on hand to be able to hopefully allow time for the paramedics to arrive. So That's what.
And Kim, how fitting for our meeting, right? I have revived CPR in my email. It's 8. I am still challenged with media. I'm going to get with your son to probably get this website finally up, but I stay so busy, and I'm personally connected. That is my business email, and that is my phone number, right? So you get it.
Say, because we have some audio listeners that aren't seeing the broadcast, so go ahead and tell them your email and your phone number so they can hear it too.
It is Revive, REVIVECPR, the number 8 at gmail.com. Now, I bought that up, Kim, and my phone number is area code is not spam and it's not scam. It's just my Florida number that I had for so long, which is area code 239. Number is 250-3512. It is one of me and a lot of y'all, but no, I will get back to you, right? Especially after blowing me up on this broadcast, bless you, Lord. But it was fitting. I have revived CPR 8 because 8 is the number of new beginning. And I don't look over signs and wonders. And it was the 8th year that of Gabe's transition for the heart walk when I met you. And I said, wow, 8. And that was the first year that you actually had a demonstration. When I met you at the luncheon, you said, you know, I wish I had somebody, the heart walk is coming up. I wish I had somebody that could give a demonstration. There we are on the field and to be there. And it actually worked out that I had a cancellation. I said, I'd love to be there, but you know, I have a commitment already. That canceled, and immediately I knew where I was supposed to be. And that was on the field with you. And we were so graced again that we had a 12-year-old on the field, right? And his mother gave consent and he wanted to, and I didn't coach him at all. It was live, it was unscripted, unprompted, and he just followed my lead and followed my directions. And on the field, we were able to show how quickly, with trained and just effort, trained and untrained, that he was able to put the AED pads for the defibrillator in proper placement, and all things were online in a matter of seconds.
So it doesn't matter what age a person is, you really can learn these skills and techniques quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially with activation, looking at signs and symptoms and knowing how and when to call 911. One little boy was 8 and saved his 2-year-old sister in Florida from drowning in the pool. We say near drowning. Mother was getting the groceries out of the car. She lets the baby out and she goes off running. And she says, I don't see your sister, go find her. And because he's helping with the bags, he gets to the pool. His sister can't swim. She's face down in the pool. He pulls her out and he begins what he believes to be compressions and tries to give her breast. And the mother comes running, and then all things are online, but just those actions right there with what he saw started. I would say, though, get trained, because what you see on these TV shows is, come on, y'all. I mean, it's TV and it's entertainment. It's close, but there are some things that you can gain from teaching and training. But he was 8 and she was 2.
And
or one young lady. And she survived. Yes, came back. Our kids are resilient. We're the ones that's devastated afterwards. They get up and run out 2 or 3 days. Yeah, she did. Got up, was responsive. I mean, God made them resilient that way, you know, because we don't know the instruction manual with them. But yes, survived, no brain damage. And he was there effectively and quickly and intervened. That is the whole thing. Time is not on our side. We are cheating the Grim Reaper. And we need every second.
I agree. And I know for Gabe's situation, it took about, I think it was like 12 to 15 minutes before the paramedics arrived. And when they got there, they gave their, absolute all. I've never seen people drenched and pouring with trying to
all
administer life-saving techniques.
And if he had just had a couple more minutes, maybe, of just some different intervention, right, that probably the outcome. And we do need that, because the outcome still can be grave afterwards. I looked at some statistics last week. Nationally, EMS response is about 8 minutes. But we have to know that's after activation. That's after you recognize what's going on, right? I had the privilege and the awesome sweetness of speaking with your children, and just tenderly and gingerly let them share with me. I didn't ask, I didn't prod, but they felt safe enough with me, and I'm graced with that, to share some of that. They thought Gabe was being himself in the shenanigans. They thought he was playing.
He just laid down. He laid down. He looked up as if somebody called his name. That's why I just believe that, I believe that God is in everything. So, I mean, he literally looked up like as if somebody called his name, and then he laid down. He didn't just fall or blood was everywhere. He just laid down. So everybody, that his brothers and his dad, thought, boy, get up, get up. You being silly. That's what they thought, because they did not know that this was an incident. And even my neighbors, because I lived in a neighborhood with medical professionals like radiologists, blah, 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 all these people, they came and administered CPR. So it's not that there was no CPR administered. Even his brother, Ivan, had just been trained in CPR in school, like you're talking about in the school. And
that defibrillator, it's the bridge. The heart is an electrical, box, and that defibrillator.
That I was going to make, though, that I want to make sure I don't lose sight of on this one piece, is that when it's your time to go,
it is absolutely.
Because I do not want to get to say that, because at the end of the day, ultimately, all of us will leave this earth at some point. How, when, where it's going to happen, that's between God and it'll be.
And we do have an end date. And I'm glad he went transitioning and they got an opportunity to see that, right? And not that trauma. And also, there are times when we do everything we can, having everything, all the bells and whistles and defibrillators, and everything is on time and it's witnessed, and the person comes back and gets in the ambulance and codes, or gets to the hospital and code, or does in the hospital. So I wholeheartedly agree and align with you on that. When that time is that time, but we don't need to be fearful or unresponsive and not respond if we can do everything we can. And then that way we don't end up with regret. We don't, end up just thinking, gosh, I wish it was something I could have done or didn't do. And certainly as humans, we have that. So even in CPR, when I conclude training, this is another segment that I have, and also debriefing for and the family. So thank you for saying that. I do want to lighten it up just a little bit, all the statistics we hear about stuff, but thinking about preventativeness, thinking about even your mental health and wellness, it ties in with your heart wellness. The word says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. And we could just have joyful things. I mean, nothing takes care of being active, having an active lifestyle, watching diet and nutrition. I wish it was, but it's not, right? It's still all those same things that we know, but to lighten up some. And to know that for every minute that effective CPR and AED are introduced, especially within the first 3 minutes, oh my gosh, the rate of survival, if all things, if there's not another physiological, a physical anomaly or something else that happens, disease process, or just simply your time, I mean, the numbers go up astronomically.
Yes.
One thing I will speak to, though, is I dress my mannequins because real people have clothes on them, and I teach safe sitter. And so the girls have to learn how to dress children, you know, infants, feed them and stuff like that. But one of the things where women are 50 to 75% more likely to die than a man is because nobody wants to touch her because she's female. And when the AED arrives, you have to remove, especially if she has an underwire bra, then you're going to shock her, weld it to her chest, her flesh will burn, it'll never leave your nostrils. So I teach to those gender sensitivities as well. I don't see where we are with time, but I was glad to have been with. I couldn't have done this with anybody else, Kim. I'm good in teaching in an audience like this, but to kind of get up here, and if I hadn't gone through your from scratch, right, how to start your show, which I'm going to have, and it's going to be a hodgepodge of things. It's just we just going to talk about it. You have a seat on my settee, which is just a British word for a long couch. Come, sit, girl, let's talk.
Well, I'm excited about your show coming out. For those that are not sure what's happening from the perspective of her going through my training, there's a training that we teach on how to start your own show from scratch. And it's a 6-week training. It's such a great experience. And it's in a small group. Do you feel like it's a great experience?
Ooh, yes, more than prepared. Yes, and you actually get this one-on-one. You give everything. Thank you, Kim, for doing that.
Well, thank you so much. And listen, if any of you all are interested in going through our next group training, it will be 6 weeks and it's coming up at the end of the month. So go ahead and reach out to me, 704-944-3534, or you can email me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. And the price is very reasonable. Trust me, it's very. I wouldn't have had access to it otherwise. And that's just another great way that you're a servant leader as well. Thank you. Thank you. And for those that are interested in donating and contributing to Gabe's Heart Foundation, as we raise the funds to be able to get portable defibrillators placed in public spaces around the country. So wherever we can get these defibrillators placed, it gives people just a chance for the paramedics to arrive to perform their life-saving measures. I see you backstage, Mike, and you'll have to show your camera in order for me to pull you onto the platform. Okay, GabesHeartFoundation.org. And if you'd like to contribute via Cash App, it's $GabesHeart. And PayPal is paypal.me/GabesHeartFoundation. Or you can also go to Givelify, and it's Gabe's Heart Foundation as well. Okay.
So yeah, I'm actually going to put a plug in for Revive CPR, if you don't mind. In addition to, of course, contributing to the business monetarily, also, if someone would like to donate to Gabe's Heart on behalf of Revive CPR, because I am looking to get a new defibrillator. The one that I have is older. The pads need to be replaced. Like, I literally have a defibrillator, but I use it now deactivated for everything in teaching, so people can see what a real defibrillator looks like. But after 2 weeks ago being at that response scene, I realized that it took over 6 minutes for police to arrive, which the officer probably would have had a defibrillator in his trunk. It took fire about 8. And that's kind of the nationwide responder. But that 12 to 15 is more, especially in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area or more rural areas, that literally, and there was a pregnant, expectant mother there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, and the airbag hit her stomach. But all that was going through my mind, and the person that she struck was unresponsive. I was able to get her car turned off and everything and controlling traffic. But in my mind was a panic button that said, oh my God, Mary, if there was a need, where is your defibrillator? So the contact I was able to make with the manufacturer, so we can, through the foundation, get these defibrillators at reduced cost. I'm looking for contributors, and I'm going to start my own campaign to have monies donated to the foundation, earmarked for me. And then that way I'm going to match it, so that way we don't deplete the fund, but so I can have access to it as well. And any overage or excess after that is totally gifted to the foundation.
Excellent.
Really, I'm glad you laugh at that, because that's my humor. But speaking to that, especially if a woman lives to blush after, after a cardiac event, and she has had to have her bra open and removed, there are safeguards that we can do. We do scene safety. We do protection. If anything, you can have someone flank around her, right, with their backs to her for coverage for that. But at that point, all clothes are off. They're off. It is it's a life-saving procedure and a technique. And we can't be on taboo for that. If we survive looking at seeing some other things, then it is needed. Also, during breast cancer awareness, right? There are things, because women who have had chemo or who have had a radiation or have a mastectomy or other things, they are more susceptible and may be in greater risk or need of these life-saving things. So again, if you open that up and you see, and there's a breast removed or something going on, we have to be, as adults, an adult community with life-saving skills to know that help us get over ourselves. And that is what I address in training. Those are live feedbacks and things that you get to get. And also, a child may have a deformity, right? A special needs child. And so those are things that we may not think of. They're in the back of our minds, but to bring them forward and to address them and be able to have concerns and feedback and questions, and the benefit of an instructor to coach you and talk you through those things, I'm telling you, it helps the first three, which is we, help all of us survive. Education is the key.
Now, I do have these two pictures as well, and I wanted you to just briefly talk about them. These are some images that you had sent in as well.
Yeah, so this is one of my great students. I chose him because he was one of the tallest and most challenging for choking. A lot of people go unresponsive from choking, and so we teach that as well. So not only is it CPR, right, compressions, breaths, and how to bring back a defibrillation, it's also a first aid, which includes choking. How to do choking for infants, children, and adults. Also covers severe bleeding, anaphylaxis. And so here I have him giving him the back blows, keeping his airway open, not coming across his neck and choking him, and back blows. And now the abdominal thrust, the proper placement for that, and foot placement. So if he does become unresponsive, I don't become floor pizza underneath him and minimize his injuries if he becomes unresponsive, if the obstructing object is not successful in being extracted.
Wow. Okay. So that is the proper technique, and you talk about this in your training and show people.
Oh, it's extensive. It is extensive, and they actually practice on the mannequins. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Wow. So, I mean, so really it's like you're covering all ends of the spectrum in the training. So anyone that's interested in being connected and learning more from Mary Kay Boddie, all you have to do is call 239-250-3512. And you can also email her, and she's going to personally respond back at revivecpr8@gmail.com. And as we prepare to close out, I do want to look back at our studio audience. People had some comments. And Mackenzie, if you can pop some of those back up. I know I saw a few coming in. Evangelist Brenda Banks said, praise God for everything that you're sharing. And it was really some good information here today. Maria Marvel Stubbs, which is our
yes, our pink victory, our connection. Yes.
Yes. So Maria said lots of hugs. Virginia Rutherford Hall said love, love, love the captivating information in the episode. Awesomeness. Awesomeness. Thank you, Virginia. She's also another talk show host, and she has a show called Rings of Wisdom.
Oh, awesome.
And Amelia says, hello, ladies. Hey, Amelia.
Yeah.
Dennis said bartering services might be something that could be considered.
Yes, indeed. Always open. Entrepreneur here. Yes. I got what you want. Maybe you have what I need. Absolutely. Hey.
Congratulations on all of the hats that you wear.
Oh my God, she is always so supportive and always here. Thank you, Heart Love. I've adopted her, by the way.
Yeah, everybody that meet my mom adopts her.
Yeah, right. Just share it, Kim. You should be used to it by now.
Yeah, she has a wonderful, compassionate heart. So,
yeah.
Mom, I'm so glad you're on. All right, our hair
so
is
that I am mobile as well. So most of the time I am on the road sites, but I do teach twice a week. And then I'm also able to be graced with a couple of places to hold teachings and trainings. It's all, I say now, I'm all heart, I'm all in. And I was so enthused that we talked about one of the churches through one of the lovely ladies that we met for a solution for their church and ministry, got CPR training and an AED. Oh, can we say yeah? Woo, woo.
Quite exciting, quite exciting.
Yes.
They're honored to have the defibrillator in their church and know exactly where it's located. I was reading an article, and we're going to close out here, but it says that among 2,000, this is from the American Heart Association. And it said in the workplace that among 2,000 employees in corporate offices, hospitality, education, and industry labor, 55% cannot find their first aid or CPR and AED training from their employer. They can't get it from their employer. And if training is available, it's often either CPR or first aid, but not both. And what else did it say? It was something else that there are 50% of people that are in the workplace, according to this statistic, can locate their automated external defibrillator at work. They said, did you know that only 50% of the people can locate it? The other 50% don't have a clue.
Don't know where it is.
The defibrillator is.
Right. We don't even know where to find them in public, in labor by. So, and then of the 50% who know where to find it, they don't know how to use it.
Right.
So yeah, 50%. Place, location. My daughter went to Italy. She saw an AED at the Coliseum. It was DAE and it was green instead of red, but it's a lightning bolt through a heart. Like right now, do we know places where we could find AEDs? Do we know?
No, that's a good question. It said in this study, with 10,000 cardiac arrests annually happening in the workplace, knowing this small piece of information has the potential to save thousands of lives.
Yes. 4 out of 5 happen outside of a care facility anyway. And of course, more heart attacks happen on Monday morning as people arrive from work from the weekend and being stressed as well. So yes, education, love for being here with you today with this, my Kim J.
Thank you so much for being here today. It has been a tremendous blessing and a privilege, very informative. And thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode. And thank you for your comments. I greatly appreciate it. I absolutely love you all and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Mary Kay,
is there a replay? If they want to share this with somebody, is there a way they can replay it or pass it on?
Oh yeah, I'll have to get one thing edited out.
Oh yes, then I forgot that already. It's already gone.
But then other than that,
Trying to give people cardiac issues already.
Yeah, that right there. That'll be a problem. Yeah, seriously though, with cardiac arrest, is according to the American Heart Association, more than 350,000 cardiac arrests happening outside of the hospital every year. So that is so important that we have these life-saving measures in place. And so I'm just grateful for you being here today, Mary Kay Boddie, with Revive CPR. All right, everybody, that's today's episode. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. See you every day.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and making